G'day friends, welcome to this bonus 6 words in and I'm already stuffing it up. Welcome to this bonus video. It's just a bit of art journaling. I had a play in my art journal the other day. This is a beautiful handmade journal with tons of different papers from a lovely subscriber who has also become a friend, Victory. Thank you, Victory. I was actually working in this in the last video that I will have uploaded. I'm so confused. I filmed all of these out of sequence, but I know the upload schedule. So the last video you would have seen was the Easter journaling art journal spread, or journal with me video. Don't even know what I called it at this point. But this one is just kind of another journal with me like that. And just, you know, having fun. This is old sheet music, like vintage papers for sheet music. Such an interesting experience working on older papers because it just feels so different. You know, when you change any kind of paper, you're going to have different results, and I was just kind of playing with that. You know, the first one I did, I kind of just put acrylic paint in the negative space, the yellow page that you saw as I first started the video. This page, I wanted to see if I could take some watered down gesso well, not even gesso, I think it was just watered down acrylic paint. And I was just going to kind of glaze over the top of the, or ghost, sometimes I like to call it, just glaze over the top of the image that I drew and also paint the background as well. See if I couldn't mute down some of those music notes, because these are very fine line kind of illustrations. They can tend to get a little lost in all of that. So I was playing with that, but I actually didn't like having the image down and then having to trace over it once I'd painted over all of the line work. So then I went back to what I liked the first time with the last image and just kind of let the paper shine through. And I really, really love it. I don't, honestly, there's no big, you know, secret or a surprise to how any of this happened. It was just more playtime that led to more playtime. It's just as simple as that. I do schedule myself time to sit down and play in my journals. You know, sometimes I do it so that I can try and grab new ideas that I can share videos with or tutorials with or work on classwork with. And then sometimes I do it just because I want to do it. And then most of the time, those are the videos that I end up making afterwards. Because I'm more inspired when I'm just doing it for personal pleasure. And it still shocks me sometimes that I sit down and actually enjoy it. Because, you know, I'm just like what I'm assuming most people out there are like. And sometimes I get to the end of a journal spread and I think, what am I doing? Like, what is this for? You know, it's not going in a gallery. I'm not selling it. What is this for? And I've just always drawn. I've always loved being, you know, creative. I've always loved art supplies and playing with all this stuff. So that's it. It's just playtime. It's like adult playtime. And I have to keep reminding myself that because especially times when I don't turn the camera on. Like when I turn the camera on, I think, oh, well, it's for work. That's why I'm doing it. It's for work. It's to share with people, hopefully teach something. Maybe people enjoy watching it. They can tune out from their day, have a nice time, etc., etc., etc. But the other times when I'm just doing it for myself, sometimes I get to the end and I think, wow, this is really odd that I like doing this. Like, I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but sometimes I really do. It goes through my head. I just think, other people just don't enjoy doing this, but I enjoy doing this. But, you know, there are other people out there that really enjoy cooking, and I don't like cooking. So I guess we all have that thing, right? Anyway, today, I'm still currently in Japan, hopefully I made it. I'm pre-filming all these videos, and they're so out of order, I have no idea where I'm at this point. But the trip, I'm in Japan, and so I'm pre-filming all of this, and I was going to have a chat about some of the things I had planned for Japan, but then I realized a lot of it is still very, like, take it as it comes, so I think I'd be explaining to you a very interesting itinerary that maybe wouldn't even be interesting to talk about. So I'm going to hit up a topic that I actually have received a bunch. I can't say exactly how many, but a bunch. And it happens all the time. A bunch of questions about this specific question that I get asked. And, you know, it's random. Sometimes it comes up like 6 times in a week, and then sometimes it'll go by a month and no one will say anything. And it's not anything crazy, but it's literally just the question, how do you do it all? Or how do you get it all done? And I just need to, like, pull the veil off for a second to let everyone know, because I don't think that's a question that I've really answered before, or possibly I have and I might have skirted around the issue a little bit, but I'm just feeling very open today, so I'm going to let you know the tea. How do I get it all done? It's just a mixture of things, really. This is my full-time job. I think the first thing people have to understand is that, you know, whatever time you spend at your job at work, whether it's, you know, an 8-hour shift, 9-hour shift, some people pull 12, 14-hour shifts at their, you know, overnight shifts at their work, this is exactly the amount of time that I dedicate to this because it's my full-time job. And it's also my own business, which means you can never really turn it off because your brain's always kind of thinking up what you should be doing next, what your next move is. One of those things that I struggle with actually is stopping to just appreciate where I'm at, because I'm usually so focused on the future or like the next 3 steps in the process. So I have been trying to get a little bit more, in the moment with a lot of it, but I don't know. I think anyone that runs their own business is probably always thinking like that as well. How do I get it all done? I don't have kids. That's a huge part. A lot of the times I get this question asked from people that do have children, and not only people that have children, but have, maybe really, really young children, or children that aren't, really old enough to take care of themselves, or, kind of go out and like work or something. I don't know, but children that need caring. Do you know what I mean? These are full-time stay-at-home mums or full-time working mums. And, I've had a full-time working mum, so I know what that is like, being the child of that. And let me tell you, it is 6 jobs in itself. So I really think that's probably where most people need to hear my perspective on that. It is so unrealistic to think that what I do would work for anybody that has children. I'm just going to say that right now, because it's a lot. I spend an exorbitant amount of time dedicated to not only the work that you see in front of you in a video, but all of the work behind the scenes as well, especially with things like product manufacturing and, designing and, creating online courses. Like those things, they require such an intense level of, personal time commitment. And so just having children, I don't know. I don't know if it's, I just want people to know that. I just want to put that out there. Your job is so much more important than what I'm doing, and it's crazy for me to even think that someone with children could do what I was doing, as far as how much time I commit to doing this. Like, I've pulled complete overnights before where I haven't stopped until 4 or 5 o'clock the next morning. I've, sometimes when I've got lots and lots of stuff going on, there have been times when I hadn't taken a day off for months at a time. And it was just constantly, like 7 days a week, 10, 14-hour days. I don't think I've ever really gone over maybe 14 hours, possibly 16. Or like if you count the breaks that I had in between, maybe some equal to full day. I have no idea. But sometimes it's been really, really, really unhealthy. And I made those decisions for myself because I needed to achieve something specific. Whether it was to pay my bills or if I was just feeling super motivated even. Sometimes I have a sick sense of drive to see if something would happen or work, and I can't stop myself. So I'm just going to put that out there. I have all the time in the world dedicated to this, so that's a huge factor of how I can get everything done, because, time breaks down very simply. It's very black and white. If it takes me, 2 hours, if it takes me half an hour to set up for a video, 2 hours to film it, an hour to transfer all the data, and then an hour to edit it, and then maybe half an hour to do the thumbnail and edit and to upload to YouTube and stuff, and do the back end of all of that. You're looking at, a few hours there of my day, but technically that's still not even a full day's work. So, I kind of really push myself to think of this as a full-time job because I want the benefits of a full-time job. And if I don't do it, then no one else is really doing it, so I'm I'm also motivated by that. There's nothing quite like the motivation of thinking that you have no other option. So that's it there. I have a lot of time dedicated to it. I also have personally just a sick desire to achieve, and it's probably a problem to be fair. I've heard people mention it before, but I kind of run with it if it's working to my benefit. I also have a very strong work ethic. And that is something that I think, can't be taken for granted. The women that raised me were incredibly hardworking women and have imparted everything they've ever known about their own work ethic into the way that I approach my work. So I have no one but them to thank for that. And I do believe that work ethic is something you can work at. I know that some people just believe, you are the way you are and that's it. I don't know about that. Because there are times when I just don't feel like working at all, and I know how easy it is to probably slip into that place. But there are literal things that I do to stop myself from going there, and so I know for a fact, for me anyway, personally, I think it is possible to work on work ethic. But that is also something that I think I should point out, because even though you see what you see here, it is a fraction of what goes into the entire process of what this business is. And so being dedicated to all parts of it and showing care, time, and attention to detail in all different parts of it is also what makes it possible to get a lot done. And yeah, so I'm just going to say work ethic is there too. And I know I'm very happy with the work ethic that I have, and very thankful that it was a priority for my family to teach that to me, to make sure that I understood the value of that. The third thing that I have is support. I have a lot of support as well. I have support from friends that come over and help me. I also have support from my partner, from my husband, Steve. He supports me with the Etsy stuff. I have support from people that will just sit down and listen to some of the struggles that I feel. And I think that can't be taken for granted, because to do all of this by myself and not to have a sounding board at any point would actually make the whole thing a lot harder. And I do want to just credit the fact that to go at all of this alone would not have produced the same results to date, I believe. So, you know, what we're really looking at here, and I don't want to say money, actually. I think maybe there's also a misconception that, you know, you need to have a lot of money to do all of this. I started with, you know, $50 to $100 to invest in some books that I had made. And then the rest was all just opportunity and prayer. And if I didn't have an opportunity, I went out and made one. So there's that too. But I think, you know, money isn't really a part of the success there that I feel, or it doesn't even help get anything else done, bar the fact that, like, you can pay the people that you outsource work to. So yes, sometimes getting it all done does mean, as far as manufacturing goes, that I do have the means to buy purchase orders. But all of that did start from, you know, next to no investment in the business as far as money went. So it's a weird one to put in there, but I guess I should just mention, yes, there are financial means that I have access to now that also really help streamline all of the work that I do as far as product designing. Because I used to have to hand make a lot of stuff, and now I don't hand make anything. So that's it. I guess that's the recipe. If you want to take that and run with it, do with it what you will. I'm not going to lie, the hardest thing to do is actually stay motivated through all of it, especially if you find that, you know, when you're committing so much of yourself to something that is actually pretty interpersonal. This is not one of those things where it's like, you know, you kind of turn it off. And it's also weird because journaling can be so personal. You've also got to factor in taking care of yourself as far as, you know, what you're willing to share, what you're not willing to share, how much of a part of your life people have access to. Sometimes you can actually introduce more stress to yourself if you decide to make things public that you don't necessarily have, you know, you want to deal with publicly. So there's a lot more to unpack here, but I just wanted to quickly kind of answer it because I know it's something that I get asked a lot. And I rarely address it just because I think it's not really going to benefit a lot of people. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you found any of that insightful or helpful, let me know. But typically, I don't think anyone should take it too literally just because everyone's circumstance is going to be different. I mean, I could not even consider like how I'd recommend doing something to someone who has kids. Like, that's just not my reality, so I don't know the stresses of that, really. I know what it's like to be a kid, but I don't know what it's like to raise them or mind them or care for them, you know, 24 hours a day, or however long you have your kids for. Maybe if they go to school, but still only, you know, a few hours that you have until they get back from school or before school, but then you're doing lunches and dinners, and yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it, so I think the factors for everyone is going to be different. But if anyone is curious to know, and the answer to that question, how do you get it all done? I just work really hard and I have a lot of time to commit to it. And I have a sick drive to see what I can do. So that really does help with the motivation part. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Please check my Instagram if you haven't been floating around there, because I know specifically maybe the day I upload this, or maybe the day before, maybe even the day after, there'll be something on there that you might want to check out. And I'm going to say that much. I'm not going to give it all away. But yeah, just have a look, see what you see, find what you find. Hope you enjoyed this little Easter spread. And yeah, just go play. Go play. If you're liking some ideas, go use them. If you're not liking them, move on to the next one. I think you should have some success with that, I feel like. Maybe. I don't know. Have a great day. Thanks for watching this bonus video. I'll be around again soon with another YouTube video and more to follow. Thanks for watching. Bye.